What are some examples of where that the fiduciary services have provided an added value for your clients?
Yeah, so CFIX, the first case study that they released a couple of years ago was about an assessment that we did for a client. This was a Texas-based retirement plan, about $30 million, growing $1 million a month, about 2,000 participants. After the assessment, we identified, and they were working with a national service provider, you would recognize their name, that was not working in a fiduciary capacity. So we were able to look at their service provider agreement and adjust it to a point where it would save the plan participants approximately $200,000 per year. We were able to reduce their record keeping expenses by about 30%. And then we're able to reduce the fund expenses, so what the plan participants were paying, each individual was paying for the fund expenses by about 80%. So significant savings and improvement. Their fiduciary scores, which are a combination of all the best things about a fund, we were able to improve those by about 30% as well for this one organization.
Wow.
So significant on that retirement plan. A second quick one would be a nonprofit. We recently did an assessment for about $35 million nonprofit, and we were able to save them about $200,000 a year, where they were excess expenses and they were paying that they just weren't aware of what those expenses were relative to the industry. So we were able to help them negotiate with their current service providers to get that kind of reduction.
And I imagine with all the different types of clients that you have, even for individuals, those savings, those numbers that you mentioned, as large as those numbers are, those percentages for a smaller client, those are important numbers.
Well, fiduciary best practices are institutional in nature. They're basically for investment stewards, in other words, someone's managing or responsible for someone else's money. So an individual, it's their own money. So technically, there are no fiduciary best practices for an individual. However, we found, and do this for private clients, that fiduciary best practices work as well for private clients, obviously, as they work for institutions. And the second point is that our private clients, by and large, are in effect managing someone else's money. In other words, they've made enough money to retire. And so at this point, this money is for their church, their charity, their children, or whatever it might be. So if that's the case, then you actually are managing someone else's money, and such you become a fiduciary from a moral perspective more so than a legal perspective.